The world often paints strength as something quiet and unbreakable. We imagine a person who never flinches, who stands firm and unmoved. But there's a quiet truth that most people don't speak. Sometimes the strongest person you know is the one who gets tears in their eyes the quickest. This isn't a sign of being fragile. It's a sign of feeling life in the most vivid detail. Let that idea settle for a moment. Somewhere along the line, we were taught that tears are a sign of losing. They mean you're too soft, too open, too emotional for a tough world. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if someone who cries easily isn't weak, but is actually operating with a more advanced emotional system than everyone else? Let's explore this idea slowly and honestly. Most people don't realize that crying is actually a neurological expression of emotional capacity. It's not a breakdown, it's bandwidth. When your brain senses you are overwhelmed, whether by joy, sadness, deep empathy, or even profound beauty, it activates a calming system in your body. This system is designed to protect you and help you recover. Tears are a key part of that healing process. They are your body's biological way of releasing built-up stress. In a very real way, your brain is helping you survive by letting those emotions flow outward instead of trapping them inside. People who cry easily are not overreacting. Their nervous systems are highly responsive, not shut down. They feel things completely before their mind has a chance to filter or dull the sensation. It's simply how they are built. Some call this sensitivity. Psychologists might call it heightened emotional attunement. It's a feature, not a flaw. Think about the person who tears up at a movie scene, or during a song, or when they see someone else in pain, or even in the middle of an argument when they are trying to hold it together. They aren't just reacting to the surface event. They are reacting to the deeper meaning, to an emotional current that most people completely miss. This tendency often comes from three psychological roots. First, childhood experiences. Many highly sensitive adults grew up in environments where emotions were never just neutral. Feelings were either too intense or completely suppressed. Their brains adapted to this by becoming expert scanners for emotional cues. They learned to read the tone of a room and respond before a situation became dangerous. For them, tears became an internal alarm system, signaling that something inside needed attention. Second, attachment style plays a role. People with an anxious attachment style might cry during conflict or uncertainty. It's not for drama, but because their nervous system interprets tension as a serious emotional threat. On the other hand, people with a secure attachment might cry purely from empathy or a deep sense of connection. Their tears are linked to compassion, not fear. Third, neurodivergent traits can be a factor. Highly intuitive and deeply empathetic individuals often process emotions with much greater intensity. What feels like an ordinary day to one person can be a full-body emotional experience for another. None of this points to weakness. It points to depth. Here's something else to consider. Tears are not just personal, they are relational. Empathetic people don't just feel their own emotions, they absorb the feelings of those around them. You've probably felt this. Someone else starts crying, and suddenly you feel a lump in your own throat, even if you don't know why. That's emotional mirroring at work. Your brains mirror neurons firing in response. People who cry easily are incredibly tuned into this. They carry a sensitivity that is wired for human connection. They feel the emotional tremors that others ignore. And isn't that exactly what our world needs more of? People who can still genuinely feel. Even adults who cry often feel guilty or ashamed afterward, as if they've broken some unspoken social rule. But this shame doesn't come from within them. It comes from years of hearing messages like, "Don't be so emotional. Why are you overreacting? Stop crying. Be strong. People are watching." Society has trained us to see tears as a malfunction, a glitch in the system, an inconvenience. So sensitive people learn to hide their truth. They apologize for their tears. They make themselves smaller to seem normal. They harden their voice to hide the tremor. But the psychological reality is this: the tears are not the problem. The shame we attach to them is. You cry during an argument not because you are losing, but because conflict deeply shakes your nervous system. You cry at movies not just because they are sad, but because you feel the raw humanity in them. You cry when someone gives you a sincere compliment, not from weakness, but because you aren't used to being seen in that light. You cry when you're overwhelmed because your emotional threshold is honest, not shielded by armor. You cry when others cry because you hold empathy like a mirror. And perhaps the most misunderstood reason of all, you cry when you're angry because your body processes that anger as intense emotional energy, not as aggression. These are not flaws. They are signals. They are indicators of profound emotional depth and sensitivity. In many ways, people who cry easily are stronger than anyone gives them credit for. Why? Because they are emotionally transparent. They don't numb their feelings. They don't bottle everything up until it explodes. They don't live behind a wall of emotional armor. They move through their feelings in real time. They experience grief, love, joy, fear, loss, beauty, and empathy fully. That requires immense courage, far more courage than remaining stoic and unmoved ever did. Science supports this. People who express their emotions tend to regulate their feelings faster, form deeper connections, and have more authentic relationships. Tears are not a collapse. They are a release that leads to clarity and emotional honesty. Of course, this depth comes with its own set of challenges. You get overstimulated quickly. You need more quiet time to recover after social events. Criticism can feel like a physical blow. Arguments take longer to process emotionally. Goodbyes linger in your heart for days. You replay conversations in your mind at night. You often feel responsible for the emotional atmosphere around you. Sometimes you might wish you could just turn the volume down on your feelings, mute them for a little while. But that very sensitivity that can overwhelm you is also what makes you wise, compassionate, creative, intuitive, and deeply human. Here's the beautiful twist that doesn't get discussed enough. People who cry easily often make the best friends, the most supportive partners, the most attentive listeners, the most perceptive leaders, and the most emotionally aware parents. They are trusted not in spite of their sensitivity, but precisely because of it. They notice what goes unsaid. They sense tension before it boils over. They are aware of emotional undercurrents that others miss completely. Their tears are not a sign of weakness. They are a signal of deep connection. So it's time to strip away the old social conditioning. Let's step out of the outdated myth that tears equal weakness. Crying easily means your emotional radar is fully functional. It means your empathy is working, your nervous system is responsive, and your humanity is intact. It means your heart never went numb in a world that constantly tries to harden you. It means you are living fully, deeply, and without apology. Perhaps it's time for the world to stop asking sensitive people to toughen up, and instead start asking everyone else to soften just a little. Because emotional sensitivity isn't fragility. It is emotional intelligence in its rawest, most honest form. And anyone who can feel life this deeply isn't weak at all. They are truly awake. If this message resonated with you, help spread this perspective. Give this video a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content that explores what it means to be human. And perhaps the most important question is this: what part of your inner world are you silently trying to heal every time you reset your home? If this exploration resonated with you, consider supporting this channel. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who might find it meaningful. Your engagement helps create more content like this. Thank you for watching. That subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with someone who might find it meaningful. Your engagement helps create more content like this. Thank you for watching.